What's up, everybody? Andy Waddell with Forum Films, and welcome to Grade in 10, or should we say Regrade in 10, because today I'm taking one of my favorite movies, Roundhouse, and we're going to make one shot with Patrick Swayze looking all super studly, just freaking pop off the screen. It's going to be awesome. Let's go. Patrick is a beast. He's about to get not nice on somebody, and it's going to be awesome. So here's the thing. This whole shot is okay. It's a product of its time. It's very one-tone, kind of reddish. And we're going to do something to make it look like skadoosh, like that. Make him pop, pull the background back, kind of pull some blues in, make it a little moodier, and kind of get rid of this overall kind of flat, red, hazy shift. So let's get started. First up, delete all my hard work. Okay, let's start with denoising. This, by the way, is just a screen grab I got off the web. It is not super high quality source material by any means, but it was the best I could grab. We're gonna go ahead and kick up some denoise pretty high on this. Gonna go better. We're gonna come back and add some grain later. All right, that's looking pretty good. Next up, let's go to exposure. I know it's a moody bar, but I want to get a little more on the top end, particularly because I want to make these lights in the background. I want to make those really jam later. So I'm just going to bring everything up a little bit and just contrast it ever so slightly with my curves. Off, on. Yeah, a little bit different. There's no right or wrong. He's in a moody bar with a gazillion types of lights and colors, so it's really just what you're feeling. So I'm going to hit the offset. I'm just going to have some fun. Pull the overall image back. Not purple, just a little bluer. A little cooler. I'm looking at scopes, but I'm not really looking at scopes. I'm really watching my Flanders more. Off, on. Oops, too far. Off, on, just barely touching it. There's a lot of nastiness happening right down here in his shirt, so we're gonna maybe deal with that here in a few minutes. Okay, let's tackle Patrick's skin tone and then his shirt. Gonna grab the 3D qualifier. Not too worried about this deeper, darker skin tone. I just really want to capture everything that the key lights telling me to look at. Now, it's gonna capture a lot of other people, and for this shot, we're gonna mask it, but we'll see what we can do just with tightening up a little bit of that. Some of the clean black and black clip. All right, so now we're going to flip it to the scope to vector scope, and I'm going to do some color compression on his skin to flatten out the hues a little bit. Still want him to feel like he's in a nightclub, but I don't want him being so purple. Okay, so let's off, on. Okay, we just pulled that purpley bleed right there out. So we're gonna keep him in a little bit tanner place. And I'm gonna boost his skin tone just a little with this curve. And I might desaturate him just a tone. I mean, just a touch. Okay, off, on. That's nice because it separates him a little bit from what's happening in the background. So now let's look at our shirt. I'm going to grab particularly the highlights. And I would love to not get everything in the back. There we go. And those highlights. Nice. Okay, I think we can blur out and it'll work just fine with those shadows in the shirt. All right, we're gonna mask him off. Just for kicks. Okay. Now, I want to just experiment for a minute. First of all, maybe I'll make this shirt blacker. That's kind of nice. Look back to my parade. Over here in exposure, I'm actually going to undo my little bit of crush I did on the blacks down there. I'm actually going to lift it a little bit right here instead. And then at the end, I can have a little bit more fun with it. So here's my shirt. So if I go back and invert it, make it super colored, it just doesn't feel like him. I'm going to make it blacker. Let's do that. Okay. Enable. There we go. Next up, I want to use the Color Space Lab a little earlier than I normally play with this. Reason being, I'm going to save this. I'm going to go ahead now and use the shadows down here just to pull a little bit of red out of those shadows throughout the image, which is particularly going to affect the back. I'm going to go to about -10. And I normally do it more at the end, but I want to do it earlier just because of the mishmash of stuff happening in the shot. I'm just liking the way it works to put it earlier. Same with vignette. Normally I would put that more toward the end. I'm going to put it up here, kind of in the middle for a moment. I think that might be a little much. What do you think? Turn softness down so I can see what I'm doing. Oops, wrong way. What I want to do is create a little bit more neg fill in the background on the left of him. Right now, the left of frame is about the same exposure as the right. And I'm just going to offset this a little bit. And I want to bring him, I want to bring it in a little bit here so that it just pushes your eye toward the key light section. Up to about 0.9. Okay, off, on. Now I'm going to global blend this back to about 65%. Off, on. Yeah, I like that. I might actually push it up a little in the frame. There we go. Just kind of let his shirt be part of that fall off. Up about 0.575. Off, on. Okay, pull this down to about 0.55. I like that. Ooh. Okay, now we're gonna do something that hopefully doesn't crash my system. I want to separate him more from the background, so we're gonna put the depth map on here. Let it do its thing. And then we're gonna add afterwards Gaussian blur. And so what our depth map is going to do is help us separate Patrick from the background. We're going to pass that alpha to this Gaussian blur, and that's going to let me blur everybody in the background more than was done in Lens. Turn off the preview. And now if I push my blur, oh, I always forget, invert it. I don't think we want his face to look like that. Right, Patrick? That's right. Okay, now I kill this blur. You can see the difference. I'm gonna go ahead and push this a little bit harder. It's a little too hard. Actually, I'm going to pull it back a good bit. I'm going to change this blur from better to faster just so we can move a little more quickly here. But before render, I would probably kick it up. Okay, that might be a little much. Wrong button. There we go. Off, on. Notice what it's doing up here to the lights. Particularly this girl. There's something about her eyelashes and eye makeup and being just enough out of focus. She kind of looks like a ghoul, I'll be honest. So anything I can do to kind of conceal that might be a little much. Let's go back to 0.375. Okay, saving. Hey, it didn't crash the computer. That's awesome. Okay, now I think I had a LUT on before, but I don't remember what LUT, so I'm not even going to try to redo that because that takes time just to poke around. So let's go with some glow. Let's get some aperture diffraction happening. And what I'm going to do is exactly that. I want to make these lights sing and dance, but I don't want them to be quite so pointed. And then I'm going to mask this so that it really, again, continues to keep the top right part of the frame as my hottest spots and lets the left side just trail off. It's pure magic sauce. Okay, next up, we're getting toward the end here. Some sharpening. I want to sharpen up old Patrick's eyes, make him just glare with his stare of death. And then finally, let's put some film grain on this. Got some 16 mil archival. We'll kick it up a little bit. Helps tear apart the background just a little bit. Brings a real grit to his face. So let's make sure how our skin tone still looks after all that shenanigans. Okay, looking pretty good. Again, I desaturated him a little bit, make him feel a little colder and meaner. So, all right, man, I think we're there. This is feeling pretty awesome. Let's walk it through. So, wow, what a difference. Okay, to kick it off, we denoised significantly. You can see right up here, off, on, as I auditioned that. Off, on. It doesn't actually affect his face too much, which I'm glad about. I was afraid I'd have to bring some detail back to his face. So a purely subjective exposure bump, kaboom, just making this a little brighter nightclub. Primary's pulling everything just slightly cooler, off, on. Okay, I'm gonna audition up my skin tone, and this is gonna help him just break away, off, on, as I audition that. His shirt, pop, let's just pull that into a black, makes him feel meaner. Okay, lab, I'm sucking the shadows down to about -10 with the lab color space. And so that's just, again, further cleaning my shadows with red. Brings this girl's hair back to pure blonde. Takes just kind of some of the reddy haze off. I might split the difference on that. Let's go like -7.5. Okay, vignette. Just to tighten up a little bit around the bottom and the left side of the frame. Depth map, followed by blur. I can't grab both of those. Thank you. There we go. So together, remember, we're isolating him right there, and everything on the next node that's white is getting blurred. It really makes him pop more. Now this glow, just to kick up these lights in the background, we'll assume these are poking at the pointed at the stage. Letting that ride over his hair really helps blend him into the shot even more, which is super sweet. Okay, we're gonna sharpen him up a little bit. Speaking of which, I love the way this glow actually makes his hair look. Like, look at this, nothing there. Boom, just this nice softness right there. Really makes it feel like it's just catching the edge of him. All right, and then finally, some film grain just to put it back into that kind of gritty 80s vibe. Oh, I think we've done it, friends. All right, that's it. Man, Patrick Swayze. Kaboom to kaboom. Loving it. Okay. Hey, like, subscribe, follow, click all the things and flip all those switches. And we'll see you next time on another grade or regrade in 10. Thanks a lot. Bye.